What is going on YouTube? My name is Keg and welcome back to another episode of GrowCastle. Now in this episode, I want to cover a very important little button that a lot of really good players use, and I think a lot of people don't actually understand how important it is and how much value you can get out of it. And the button that I'm actually talking about is the battle result button down there in the middle row, down at the bottom. Now the battle result button is super important because it will show you how much damage your different towers and heroes did in that previous battle. Now it could be fighting Sin, it could be colonies, it could be waves. Whatever it is, whatever battle you just did, this will show you the results of the battle and it will show you how much damage each of your individual towers did. Now the reason why this is so important is it helps to decide where to place your towers, it helps to decide what towers to use, it helps to decide how well your items are that you're using on individual heroes. And you can compare that difference before and after. And I don't think a lot of people actually really use it that well, because I see a lot of people posting on high ranked videos or high ranked players posts asking what's the best setup to use, who do I use here, what's the best way to kill this boss. And I feel like if they switched and changed a few towers around and used the battle result button and looked at the different damage that their towers were doing in different circumstances, that they could actually figure a lot of this stuff out. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to give you a couple of quick examples here. This won't take very long at all. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to leave our towers as they are. I've got a few different towers and a few different levels. I'll show you that I've got all of these castle towers, as they're called, castles. They're all at level 1000. Or one of miniguns at 1002. And we can see at 1000 their damage is 83.55. We've got 54.59 damage there, and for the lightning 59.93, and it chains as well. Now I'm just starting to play around with some of these towers, so I'll just point out at the moment that my Thornworm is only 320, so he's doing 1777, and compared to my Cannon, which is 600 at 5043. So he's almost double. So I'm just playing around at the moment thinking which towers are good for doing waves, which towers are good for doing colonies, etc, etc. And also you can be doing waves, and depending on not if you're AFKing waves or you're actually fighting through a high level of waves will depend on the amount of damage that tower does as well. So we're going to go into a battle here. I'll do it at double speed, but I'm not going to use any of my hero abilities. Now the reason why I do that is because I want to compare. I want to have an idea. So if I'm using tons of my hero abilities, I'm going to be pushing all of these monsters way back to the right hand side of my screen without a problem. As you can see, without using any of my hero abilities, they're all dying quite quickly anyway, and they're, apart from that hog rider boss, if you want to call it that, everyone else is to the right hand side of that half of the battlefield. Now at the end of this battle here, we'll have a look at the battle result tab, see how much damage my towers are doing, compare them to each other, and then I'm going to show you the difference if we do another battle and I use all my hero abilities and I push all the monsters back, how much that changes. So on the battle result here, so in this episode, we're just going to look at the towers. So I'm going to ignore these first two tabs because the first tab is an overall, all your towers, all your heroes. The second tab is just your heroes, and the third tab is your towers. The fourth tab is your gold. So on our third tab here, I'm concerned about my towers at the moment. That's it. So we can see the minigun is doing a lot of damage, 2.2 mil. We've got the cannon at 1.7 mil, and we've got the lightning at 1.4 mil. These are all really good damages. I'm relatively happy with that. Interestingly enough, the difference between number 4 and number 5 here, the lightning tower and the cannon tower, 1.4 mil to 600,000. Now, that's more than double. As you can see, the cannon's doing 25%, the lightning is doing 57%. So the lightning is doing more than double the damage of the cannon. Now I'm going to disregard number 6, the Thornworm at the moment, because he is quite low level, but he is comparative. He's 11% compared to 25% for the cannon, and he was about half the levels, just above half. So he is comparable. He's not strong, just comparable. Now, we'll keep an eye on these results now, just for the top 5. So minigun, cannon, lightning, castle, then lightning tower, and then cannon. all kind of linear in the damage as they drop off at the top 5, okay? Now we're going to go back into this battle. Exactly the same towers, exactly the same levels, except I'm going to spam all my hero abilities the whole time. As much as I can, I'm going to keep these monsters as far away from my castle, from my castle as I possibly can. Now, it may not actually look that much difference, and to be honest, even to my eyes right now playing it, yeah, sure, it's a little bit different. I'm keeping them over the right-hand side, but it's not like it's anything major. It's not like it's a huge difference to before. I'm just keeping them over that right-hand side a little bit. And we'll see what the difference is in the damage. And it's just, I'm pointing it out because it's something else that you just want to keep in mind if you're assessing your damage. If you're looking at that battle tab, it's just something to keep in mind. So, exactly the same towers, exactly the same everything. And let's have a look. The minigun is now topping out. The lightning tower is second. The lightning castle is third. Our cannons dropped to fourth. And our cannon castle is dropped to fourth. And our cannon tower is at fifth. Thornworm is still down there at the bottom. And again, he's comparable. 10% to 25% for the cannon tower. Comparable. Nothing too crazy. So this is what I want to talk about. That was the exact same towers on almost the exact same wave. It was the next wave. And the difference was I spammed all my heroes' abilities. And in the wave before it, I did nothing. I just AFK'd. So, for whatever reason, our lightning tower in second place is doing a lot more damage comparatively to other towers. Or you could make the argument that our lightning castle in number 3 and our cannon castle in number 4 is doing a lot less damage. Now, could that mean because the monsters are further away? Probably. That's probably the most obvious answer, is usually the most right one. So that's probably the correct answer, is that the enemy is pushed so far to the right-hand side that those castles don't actually get a chance to shoot at them before all my spawned mobs go and kill them. So whilst this battle result button is incredibly important and incredibly handy for doing a direct comparison between two different upgrades, two different towers, two different castles, you just need to keep in mind that the results can be skewed quite heavily depending on the role of that tower or castle. Having said that though, it's still an excellent tool for comparing two things directly. So if I wanted to compare my lightning tower and my cannon tower, which is originally what my idea was, and to see why my cannon tower in 5th place here was so far down on the damage, because as you can see, my cannon tower is level 600 and he's doing 5043. My thunder tower's 600 and he's doing 4,823. Yes, he hits fast and he's a 5-chain and the cannon is slow and a bomb, but they're both level 600. You'd figure that they were quite comparable, but they're not. They are, how much apart? They are almost double. They're more than double. So the lightning tower is doing, or whatever it's called, is doing more than double the damage of my cannon tower. So I'll wrap it up there. I won't go too far into this episode, but I just wanted to touch on that battle result button, how important it is, and I think you should use it almost all the time if you're thinking of changing, which is also why my Thornworm current is here at level 320, because I'm considering changing him out for the cannon tower, because the cannon tower seems to have really low damage on waves. When I'm fighting colonies or when I'm fighting the bosses, perhaps the Thornworm is heaps better. Perhaps the cannon is a lot better for that as well, because you're fighting a big stationary boss. You need to go into those fights, just do a couple of waves, do a couple of bosses, do a couple of colonies, and have a look at the battle result each time. You might be really surprised at what towers are doing what, and make a little change. That also includes your items. At the moment, I've just got my AFK farming items on, but that includes your items. That's another excellent way of seeing if I put this item in here, which gives me extra 15% damage, then I want to see an actual extra 15% damage. If you put that on there and then the damage only seems to go up by about 5%, then you know, well, perhaps that's not really an effective item to use, as an example. Just an example for that one, guys. So keep that in mind, guys. If you need to think about what towers you want to use and what's effective the most against Sin, against colonies and waves, the battle result tab is the tab that you want to use. Go and use that one. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. Subscribe for more videos, like the video if you like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.